Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, a former school cleaner convicted of child sex offences in the Burnie Supreme Court could walk free from jail in 6 months. The sentence handed out today outraging the teenage victim's family. The 28-year-old woman had earlier pleaded guilty to having sex with a 13-year-old boy multiple times, including in public and in front of her own son. A warning, this story contains further distressing information.
A devastated family left with a lifetime of grief.
To get such a low sentence, the mother is dumbfounded. I'm incredulous.
The convicted woman was the cleaner at her 13-year-old victim's school, described by the family as an aunt figure. She pleaded guilty after developing a relationship with the boy last year. They started by taking photos of themselves cuddling to make girls at his school jealous. It eventually led to showering together, then oral and penetrative sex, including at this park. The boy's mother discovered the relationship and told the accused not to contact the child, but instead she made an alias account, continuing the relationship. In her first police interview, she denied anything happening because of the age difference, but in her second interview, she claimed the relationship would have continued if it hadn't have come to light.
13-year-old child cannot have a consensual relationship with a 26-year-old because they don't have the psychological knowledge to actually consent.
She was sentenced to 2 years jail but will be eligible for parole in 6 months. The family say they're distraught over today's outcome because of the significant and ongoing psychological impacts of their child. They were hoping for a longer sentence.
I would have expected 4 to 5 years, maybe with a non-parole period of 3 years. That would be in keeping with precedents. We strongly believe that she may have been given a lighter sentence because of the fact that she's a female.
The accused cried as Justice Tamara Jago read out the perpetrator's own history as a child abuse victim. Justice Jago said the offending was escalated because the teenager did not wear a condom, adding consequences of her own crime had been significant, and that she was satisfied her mental health had contributed to the offending, but only to a limited extent. The court heard the boy now regrets the relationship and has self-harming tendencies.
He's not in a good frame of mind, and we are expecting, of course, that the mother and the child are both going to need a lot of psychological help.
Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
And if this story has raised any concerns, you should contact the Sexual Assault Support Service on 1800 697 877 or Lifeline on 13 11 14. A 27-year-old man has been charged with drug trafficking after allegedly attempting to smuggle $80,000 worth of methamphetamine into the state. Police allege a detection dog found 80 grams of the illicit substance on the man. A 35-year-old woman has also been charged with the alleged unlawful possession of property and ammunition. The Newham residents were flying into Launceston Airport from Melbourne but were intercepted upon arrival. The pair has been bailed to appear in court at a later date. In the midst of the nationwide gas shortage, Tasmanians are also at risk of electricity price shocks thanks to a broken 2018 election promise, according to Labor. The party says the state government's backflip on delinking our energy grid from the mainland leaves households and businesses exposed.
As Australia grapples with a gas shortage, Tasmania is at risk too. At the 2018 state election, the Liberals pledged to de-link Tasmania from the national energy market.
You said this would reduce power prices by up to 10%. Premier, did you do this?
I'm advised that delinking may have significant unintended consequences for major projects,
so you lied to the community,
such as Marinus Link and private sector wind developments.
The Consumer Affairs Minister today defended the decision to prioritise energy projects and not to de-link.
For government, we will always look at balancing the situation so that it's best for all Tasmanians.
Nationwide wholesale energy prices are set to spike, and Labor says businesses and households here in Tasmania are exposed by the backflip.
If retail electricity prices increase significantly, many Tasmanian householders will not only make the choice to turn off the lights, but some will turn off the power.
The state's Energy Minister Guy Barnett says he's met with his federal counterpart and the National Energy Regulator.
The matter is being monitored very carefully, but I can assure Tasmanians there is no imminent concern.
But for those reliant solely on gas, the state's major provider says they won't be affected.
Tasgas has secured firm gas supply for customers in Tasmania, and we are able to meet all our customers' needs, so there is no risk of a shortfall.
Welcome news for their 14,000 customers. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
It will now be compulsory for Tasmanians to vote in local council elections. After making it through the upper house last night, the Legislative Council approved the bill without further debate this afternoon. When heading to the polls, constituents will also be required to number candidates from 1 to 5 in order of preference. The government has been criticised for allowing the public trustee to settle compensation claims made against it. Independent Christy Johnston says the process is akin to asking family violence survivors to negotiate settlements with their attackers.
They shouldn't have to go through lengthy court process to receive compensation, and they shouldn't have to deal with the institution that caused them harm in the first place.
Elise Archer defended the public trustee in question time, saying independent recommendations are being implemented to correct it. The personal information of Tasmanian NDIS participants has been leaked. Hackers targeted the CTARS client management system, which is used by one service provider working with the Department of Communities.
It's currently not clear how many Tasmanian citizens are impacted by the breach. However, the department is working with suppliers involved to determine this.
Cybersecurity agencies are determining the details of who was involved as well as investigating the incident. Other states and territories have also been affected by the data breach. Tasmanians can now protect themselves from illness this winter with free flu vaccines. The Premier, Jeremy Rockcliffe, announced today the state government will be subsidising them at all GPs and pharmacies until July 6. It's in addition to the state-run flu vaccine clinics where those as young as 6 months can receive shots. A Tasmanian man in his 80s has died due to COVID, taking the state's pandemic death toll to 77. 765 new cases have been recorded overnight, with those active dropping to under 4,500. 42 people are in hospital with the virus, with 20 of those being treated specifically for COVID. One person is in intensive care. A Tasmanian woman has shared her story about a horror accident with a hot water bottle, hoping to prevent others from making the same mistake. The household item and wood fire heaters are being singled out for rising burns admissions across the state's hospitals.
A common ritual to warm up in winter has led to weekly Royal Hobart Hospital visits for Rhiannon Coleman Hurd.
I don't think I've had an experience like it, and then also didn't even think boiling water or water from a hot water bottle could have such damage.
The 26-year-old's using her experience as part of KidSafe's National Burns Awareness Month to demonstrate how quickly mishaps can happen.
When I came in to the emergency department, it was just completely blistered, and then they had to de-roof it, so taking off all the skin.
We want people to be aware, especially this year because we've seen an increase in hot water bottle burns, so how easily it is to overfill.
New arrivals into Tasmania are among the groups most impacted. In an effort to bring down those statistics, new linguistically diverse resources will target them specifically.
They may usually use different methods of cooking in their home countries, so they're used to cooking on outdoor fires or outdoor gas equipment, and they're bringing this equipment inside the house.
In the last reporting period, 26% of children and 43% of adults who sustained a burn injury did not receive adequate first aid.
We've seen the change with that is that they're actually bigger burns, they're requiring more surgery and more length of stay and the risk of long-term scarring.
Heaters and outdoor fire pits are also contributing to a spike in hospital admissions.
A lot of it is around putting accelerants, so like petrol or diesel, onto fires or bonfires.
With handburns in children on the rise, authorities are warning a simple daily task like making a cup of tea needs to be done cautiously, as it proves to be a major risk for the youngest of Tasmanians.
With hot drinks, don't have tablecloths. Make sure the hot drink is at the back of the bench rather than close to the edge where a child can grab them.
But organisations are encouraged by signs that community awareness is improving.
There was a young girl in the Northwest Coast who had the education sessions, and unfortunately her clothes did catch on fire, but she knew exactly what to do. So those kind of stories are the ones we tend to hopefully focus on.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmanian News.
Launceston City Council has unleashed its list of most popular dog names. For males, Charlie came in as top dog, with Max and Buddy falling close behind. Meanwhile, Bella tops the list of female names, overtaking Molly and Ruby. Some other unusual names on the list include Chewbacca, Bogues and Nissan Navara. The council is reminding all pet owners to register, microchip and de-sex their furry friends. A new project is hoping to fill the gap in information about miscarriage. With 1 in 5 Australians facing early pregnancy loss, one Tasmanian is opening up about her experience.
Unbearable grief with long-lasting pain. Emma Rayner has had the chance of starting a family ripped from her reach not once but twice.
The first time that I heard those words, "I'm really sorry, there's no heartbeat," I felt like I had no heartbeat. Like it gutted me.
Losing 2 babies in under a year, Emma still carries an abundance of emotional trauma with her each day.
While I know that it's just part of my journey to being a mum, it really does make me a little bit hesitant and a little bit scared to fall pregnant again, because I don't know what a healthy pregnancy feels like.
And with no face-to-face support groups in Tasmania and a severe lack of resources, Emma was beginning to question her own sanity.
There's no information about what's happening to your body, and it kind of makes you feel like you're maybe going a little bit crazy, and maybe it's just in your head.
Those hormones don't just leave your body, so you can still be having hot sweats, night sweats, you can have pelvic pain, you can feel nauseated like you did when you had morning sickness.
Now she's using her negative experiences to create positive change, working with the Women's Health Education Network to deliver a new miscarriage project.
Being that unlucky twice, there's got to be a reason for it, and this is the reason.
Still in the development phase, the project's organisers are hoping to secure $100,000 to provide free online information and podcasts discussing the physiological side of a miscarriage.
We'll get more researchers on board, and we're going to break down what is happening in a woman's body at every couple of weeks.
Above all, it's about supporting women so they know they're not alone in their journey.
I don't want anyone else to feel as scared and lonely as I did when I went through that first miscarriage.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
3 new freshwater management projects are set to shape Tasmania's water policy. The state government is spending almost $2 million as part of its rural water use strategy. Research will focus on predicting the impact of climate change, water accountability and our understanding of groundwater.
A Tasmanian is heading to Windy Hill. Essendon snapped up Jai Menzies with pick 18 in last night's mid-season draft. The 19-year-old made the switch to South Adelaide in the SANFL this year after playing for North Hobart and the Tassie Devils in the NAB League. A small forward, Menzies will help the Bombers fill the gap left by Anthony McDonald-Tippinwoody. In the TSL, North Launceston is hoping to bounce back against Clarence following its defeat to crosstown rival Launceston last week. Coach Brad Cox-Goodger is hopeful his team can turn up the intensity on Saturday when they travel to Bellerive to face Clarence.
Clarence are obviously one of the 2 teams that have beat us this year, so we were pretty poor defensively against them last time, so just hoping we can bring that intent for 4 quarters.
For us, it's just coming back to how we want to play the game, back on Blunston, bigger ground, so hopefully use those spaces that'll be there for us.
Meanwhile, North Hobart's coach says they're ready to take on a young Glenorchy side. The Magpies keen to make a statement at KG5.
We expect a pretty big contest out there. We've certainly got to bring our best, and especially early. I know that they would have circled it in the calendar.
And Jake Hines is copping a 2-match ban for a late hit on Brad Cox-Goodger after his appeal to the tribunal failed. Jack Jumpers jet Sam McDaniel will switch from green to blue this weekend when he suits up for the Hobart Chargers in the NBL1. There's been little time off the court for McDaniel, but he's eager to make an impression and use the off-season to his advantage.
Just that little bit more freedom to work on things, to try things out. I think it's an important phase of development in a basketball player's career, really.
He's got everything the team needs. Obviously, he's a defensive specialist at NBL level, but what we're excited about is probably opening up the green light for him to take the game on offensively and really free him up.
The Chargers will take on the Casey Cavaliers in a double-header at home, where they'll be looking to add to their 4 wins for the season.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie 11 today. Launceston and Devonport reached 12. Pretty cold night all over too. 13 was as warm as it got. That was recorded by the Bass Strait Islands and Smithton. Low Head, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Grove 12. Strawn 11 and Lyreweenie 5. Extensive low-level cloud today over the west and north, and as the Bureau described, some wispy high cloud above. Some snow picked up as well on that picture. Low cloud has moved over the Bight. A mid-level band sits over the southeast of the nation, and a cold pool of air is over southern Western Australia. Tomorrow a cold front tracks our way. A weak high sits off the Queensland coast. A trough runs south from over Darwin. Northwesterly winds at 20 to 30 knots over the west, reaching 35 knots over the southwest. Swells at 2.5 metres, but up to 4 in southwestern waters. Gale warning tomorrow from southeast Cape to Low Rocky Point. A strong wind warning from Low Rocky Point up and around and down to Wineglass Bay. Friday in Hobart, a cloudy day, 14 the top, 14 for Huonville with a late shower, cloudy for Campania and 14. Launceston, a high of 13 with showers increasing, Devonport the same and 12 the top for Georgetown. Burnie looking at 13 degrees as well and showers increasing, Strawn showers increasing, same number, and 13 as well for Wynyard. St Helens a possible shower, 13, 14 the high for Swansea, partly cloudy for Port Arthur and 15 degrees the maximum. On Saturday, showers mainly over the north and west, snow to 900 metres in the west and far south, showers extending statewide on Sunday morning, more snow on the peaks and a thunderstorm in the west, and on Monday a few more showers clearing the north during the day, snow down to 500 metres. Partly cloudy in Perth as the temperature drops below 20, showers increasing over Adelaide, a late shower forecast for Melbourne, Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. Bit of cloud about at the moment, 8 degrees in Hobart, 8 in Launceston, mostly cloudy in Devonport and 8 degrees. A chilly night ahead, Kim. Just be careful filling up your hot water bottle this evening.
Good advice. Thank you, Murph.